Bonjour tout le monde! So in this video, we're going to learn how to read the time in a more fancier way, like it's 4:45 or it's 3:30 or 5:11. Do you know how to say that in French? Well, if you don't, stick around and I'll show you how. Bonjour tout le monde! Welcome back to Learn French with Nat. And if you're new to my channel, well, bienvenue! Be sure to subscribe and ring that bell to get notified so you don't miss any videos, okay? Make sure to stick to the end because we're going to do some exercises together for you to practice, okay? And I'm also going to explain to you there's certain times where you don't use the fancy time reading, and I'm going to explain to you when not to use it. So make sure you stick to the end to know when that is, okay? Now let's get into the lesson. First thing I want to say here is that this is a more advanced lesson. I made another video on how to read basic time in French. So if you haven't seen that video, please check that one out first, because this one is built on that one, okay? I'll include a link in the description below, okay? So one important rule when reading the clock in French is that you always have to say the hour first, okay? Remember that. I'll remind you as you go through the lesson because you're gonna see it's gonna get a little bit tricky. So the hour always has to come first, okay? Let's start on the right side of the clock. So quarter. Quarter in French is quart, okay? The U is silent, and this T is also silent, okay? It looks the same, but it's not pronounced the same. So quarter in French is quart, quart, okay? So 5:15 in French, like we reviewed last week, would be 5:15. But how about quarter after 5? So in French, like I said, we have to say the hour first, so it becomes 5:15. So the translation to English would be 5 and a quarter, okay? So when we're on the right side of the clock, we're going to add 5:15, okay? 5:15. How about 2:30? In English, you could say 2:30, right? So 2:30 in French, we reviewed last week, is 2:30, right? 2:30 is the equivalent of 2:30, okay? Demi means half. So we're saying 2 and a half. 2:30, okay? So do you notice here on the right side of the clock, we put a, we're adding. So it's 2:30, okay? So let's look at the last one again. We said 5:15, and now we're saying 2:30, okay? So 4:45, like we saw last week, is 4:45, right? But you can also say 4:45. So 4:45 in French is 5 moins quart, okay? Remember how we always have to say the hour first. So what we're doing a little bit of math. We're looking at the next hour, 5 minus a quarter. That's exactly what we're saying in English. We're saying 5 minus a quarter. 5 moins quart, okay? In France, they say 5 moins le quart, okay? We don't say that here. We don't put le, in case you're watching videos from France, okay? We only say 5 moins quart, simply, okay? Okay, so did you get this? So if you're on the right side of the clock, we're going to say 4:30, 3:15. If you're on the left side, you're going to say 2 moins quart, 5 moins quart. Okay, you guys following along? What about 10:55 or 5:11, right? Same thing. So what you would say here is, you could say 10:55, 10:55, but if you're trying to say 5:11, we're going to keep the same formula as before. We're going to say the hour first. You're going to say 11 moins 5. 11 moins 5. Okay? We're subtracting 5. How about 5:50? 5:50, you would say 10 to 6. In French, you have to say the hour first, so you're saying 6 moins 10. Okay? On the right side of the clock, you know, from 0 to 30, in English you can say 5 after, 10 after. You don't really have that many options like that in French. You can only really say 5:05, 5:10, 5:20, 5:15, 5:20. You can't really do all that fancy jargon like you do in English, okay? So it's pretty simple on the right side of the clock. One important thing that you need to know, these rules are really only for the 12-hour portion of the clock. Once you go into late afternoon, into the afternoon for the 24-hour clock, you can't use this jargon, okay? You can't say 15 heures moins 10. Some people use it. You're not really supposed to, okay? It's usually reserved only for the 12-hour clock. Instead, you would simply use the numbers, okay? You would say 15 heures 15, 15 heures 20, 15 heures 50, 17 heures 45, okay? So I really hope I made this clear and I didn't confuse you more. We're gonna do some exercises together to really kind of get that to sink in a little bit, okay? What about this, okay? We're gonna do the 12-hour clock right now, which means AM, okay? So 2:15 in French, you could say 2 heures 15, or you could say 2 heures et quart, right? If it was 2:15 p.m., do you remember how you do that? This is from last lesson. I'm gonna quiz you on it. You would say, il est 14 heures 15, right? Okay. How about this one? 5:30. 5:30, you would say, il est 5 heures 30, or you could say, il est 5 heures et demi, right? If it was PM, again, a quiz from last week, you would say, il est 17 heures 30, okay? How about this one? 7:45. 7:45 a.m. is il est 7 heures 45. Or, remember the hours are first, you would say il est 8 heures moins quart. 8 heures moins quart, right? If it's 7:45 p.m., then you would say il est 19 heures 45. Okay? How about this one? 6:55 a.m. is il est 6 heures 55. Or, hours first, il est 7 heures moins 5, right? If it was 6:55 p.m., you would say il est 18 heures 55. Okay, last one. 2:40 a.m., il est 2 heures 40. Or, il est 3 heures moins 20, right? If it was p.m., you would say il est 14 heures 40. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please press the like button below and make sure to review your numbers and practice the basic clock reading on the first video I did. So I'll make sure they link those below. And come by and see me next week, okay, guys? Merci beaucoup, les amis.